Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Major Chris Kitchen. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. Today, we are honoured to acknowledge Mr. Keith Payne, VC, who was awarded the Victoria Cross for his actions in the Vietnam War. Today, that medal was accepted into the Australian War Memorial's collection and is now displayed in the Hall of Valour. We acknowledge Senator the Honourable Don Farrell, Mr. Simon Lewis, Secretary, Department of Veteran Affairs, and all Defence officers and dignitaries that are attending the ceremony today. This evening, we're also joined by visitors and students who'll be laying wreaths on behalf of the following schools: Rose Park Primary School, Rose Park, South Australia; Bathurst Public School, Bathurst, New South Wales; St Mary's School, Goondiwindi, Queensland; Inner Sydney Montessori School, Balmain, New South Wales; and Mary MacKillop Catholic College, Warrnambool, New South Wales. Shortly, Australia's Federation Guard will dismount the catapult party from the tomb of the unknown Australian soldier within the Hall of Memory. Australia's Federation Guard is the tri-service ceremonial unit of the Australian Defence Force, and it provides a ceremonial presence during visits to Australia by foreign dignitaries and for civil and military events, including here at the Australian War Memorial. Please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Golden soil
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea for this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families, friends, and Australians could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed at the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and other operations over more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Corporal Thomas Douglas Blackie Blackhurst. Thomas Douglas Blackhurst was born on the 14th of October 1946 in Belmont, New South Wales. Little is known about his early life before he joined the Australian Regular Army. Following his basic and initial employment training, he was posted to the 7th Battalion, Royal Australian Regiment, and became an infantryman dog handler in the battalion's tracking platoon. Blackhurst deployed to South Vietnam with his battalion in April 1967. Over the following 12 months, he took part in 7 RAR's operations, including the successful Operation Coburg, conducted in early 1968 along the Bien Ho Long Can border against the Viet Cong and the North Vietnamese Army regulars. A month later, Blackhurst sailed back with his battalion to Australia. Blackhurst returned to Vietnam in January 1970 and was initially sent to the 1st Australian Reinforcement Unit before being posted to 6 RAR. In March and April, he took part in Operation Townsville, a month-long search and destroy operation in northeastern Phuoc Toi province. When 6 RAR left Vietnam in May, Blackhurst returned to the reinforcement unit. In October, he was promoted to corporal and posted to the Australian Army Training Team Vietnam to work as an advisor to Vietnamese regional troops. In early April, he took the place of a comrade due to a period of rest and deployed to the Long Hai Hills with a company-sized patrol from the South Vietnamese 302nd Regional Force Battalion. With him was another member of the Australian Army Training Team and 2 American advisors. As the unit patrolled into the Long Hais, one of the Vietnamese soldiers triggered a mine which severely wounded him and 3 others. An Iroquois helicopter from the 9th Squadron, Royal Australian Air Force, protected by 2 bushranger gunships, was called in to evacuate the group. Blackhurst guided the helicopter into position and went to assist in strapping the most severely wounded soldier onto a litter to be winched out. As the litter was winched out, up towards the helicopter, a hidden enemy machine gun opened fire and a number of rounds hit the helicopter, causing it to lurch, lose power and plunge to the ground. The group's captain and the wounded Vietnamese soldier were killed by the helicopter as it crashed. Blackhurst was struck by one of the rotor blades and killed instantly. As the helicopter rolled and burst into flames, the 4 RAF crewmen managed to escape from the wreckage, but the medic on board, Lance Corporal Gillespie, was trapped and died in the fire. His body was not recovered until 2007, when his remains were repatriated to Australia for burial. Blackhurst's body, recovered the day after the crash, was returned to Australia and he was laid to rest in Belmont South Cemetery, New South Wales. Thomas Douglas Blackhurst was the last soldier of the Australian Army Training Team to die in Vietnam. His name is now listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, along with 520 others from the Vietnam War, and his photograph is displayed today beside the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of courage and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Corporal Thomas Douglas Blackhurst and all of those Australians who have given their lives in the service of our nation.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozieres or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. Thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial, and good evening.